Hey there, my name is Jaden, here for Foamarmory, and today we're going to be building Darth Vader's helmet from Star Wars. Check it out. On the bench today is Darth Vader's iconic helmet from Star Wars. I have dreamt of making this thing since I was just a little kid, so let's dive right in. First things first, a huge shout out to Pepmaster for providing me with an excellent model. It was an absolute delight to unfold this thing for foam. The 2D templates in the right hand window can be found at the link below in the description as both PDO files and PDFs. I did my best to scale these templates to my head, roughly 23 inches around, so be sure to bear that in mind and always double check scaling for yourself before printing any patterns. Hot off the printer, you'll be left with a ton of pieces. I made sure to separate out the pieces for the dome of the helmet and the faceplate right off the bat. I use file folders to keep my templates organized. All you'll need for the next few steps is some Sharpies, an X-Acto blade, a retractable box cutter, and of course, some foam. Here we'll be working in 6mm craft foam and tracing out each and every piece, flipping over pieces for symmetry of the face. The rebreather was cut from a thicker 10mm piece of foam for the sake of accommodating the additional depth needed to fully recess the features of Vader's big fun triangle mouth. The rebreather was frankly one of the largest challenges of this piece, as was adjoining it to the rest of the face. I took great care to cut and detail it as accurately as possible before moving on to cut out the rest of the build. Vader's face is a fun mix of organic features cut with intense angular designs, so it's good to keep the 3D model open nearby while cutting out the helmet for reference. I was able to save a lot of time by angling many of my cuts at this stage rather than going back later piece by piece. Many of the pieces that make up Darth Vader's helmet require additional details either undercut or carved into the surface of the material. This can be time-consuming, but it is worth taking your time here to avoid needing to cover lots of small errors while sealing and filling. Here you can follow along as I detail the slats of the rebreather. I drafted these details right onto my template for reference. My Dremel was used with a rounded stone bit to grind in the detail of the, well, let's just call it a nose. Almost every other detail was the same pattern of score, cut, and or recess. Any pieces that did need to be recessed were then reinforced with a bead of hot glue before final assembly with contact cement. Here I moved to my well-ventilated patio to handle the glue. I used DAP Weldwood brand contact cement. A quick stir and it's all set for a marathon session of heat forming and gluing. As a reminder, 2 layers are more than enough to ensure a strong, lasting bond for your foam. If you're interested in seeing the unabridged gluing process, check out the live stream footage for this particular build, and as always, if you're enjoying these videos, feel free to subscribe down below and check us out over on Facebook. Once it's all glued together, it's back to the bench for some quick cleanup with the rotary tool and then to add a few more details. I had originally planned for the tubing on the sides of the faceplate to be made out of some extruded foam dowels, but I felt like they were too thick and oddly flimsy, so I wound up cutting some wood dowel to size and using foam clay to smooth the details together. As as soon as the clay has had a chance to fully dry, we can start to seal the helmet. I went straight for a mix of watered down Mod Podge, applying 2 layers overall, and then I also hit the inside with a single coat of undiluted Mod Podge for good measure. For those last-minute fixes, we turn to Quick Seal caulk. This stuff is great. It's paintable when dry, and it's super easy to smooth over with just a finger and a little bit of water. When working with very round, smooth shapes, this is the most important step to achieve that super clean final product. Don't rush, respect dry times, and don't hesitate to add another layer. After no less than 3 coats of Plastidip, I hit everything with several liberal coats of Rust-Oleum Gloss Black Enamel Paint for that Darth Vader shine. To cement that brooding look, we'll be cutting a pair of lenses out of this dollar store plastic bowl. The lenses are removed with a cutting wheel on the rotary tool and gently sanded to remove any burrs or sharp edges. The poor man's tint is black Sharpie applied directly to the lenses. The lenses are hot glued right into place. The nubbins on the jaw of the mask were a pair of thumbtacks with the metal removed and painted silver. The nose-ish thing was also brushed up silver at the same time. To keep the mask in place, I employed some 1-inch buckles and webbing, as well as 4 neodymium magnets glued to the 2 pieces of the helmet. And with that, the build was finally complete. I'm super happy with this build. I haven't wanted to do this for some time because of how much of a challenge I personally feel it is to get this to look just right. But this thing looks great. It looks almost like an officially licensed sort of thing, and that's the key. Whenever you take on an iconic prop like Darth Vader's helmet, you always have to hold yourself to a slightly higher standard because there's not really room for interpretation here. It's either gonna look like the thing or it isn't. I really feel like the profile especially just nails that iconic look. This thing emotes so much more than it ought to. It feels like it's constantly saying something in those eyes. As always, there's lots of small ways you could improve upon this design. I opted not to do the mesh detailing inside the rebreather and underneath the neck. I just recessed those areas and let the detail sort of carry itself. But you could go further with that. And frankly, I encourage you to. Send me photos of these things. You can send them to my email or hit me up at my Facebook page, Foamarmory. If you like this build, feel free to try it out for yourself. The templates are gonna be in the description down below. If you like these videos, please like it. If you wanna support the channel, please consider subscribing. That helps us out a lot. If you wanna support us even more than that, you can become a patron. I want to give a huge shout out to our 2 patrons, Austin of AJ Plays Piano and Kieran. Thank you guys so much. For just $3 a month, you too can get your name at the end of these videos and all of these templates a week in advance, as well as other small things along the way. Check back soon for more videos. There's going to be more builds, more updates. You can see some more projects lining the back shelf here. If you want to pick up any of these things, they can be found over on my Etsy page. Again, link in the description. I do live streams every Tuesday, Thursday, builds, Pepicura tutorials, all sorts of stuff. So please check it out, click around, and until next time, I've been Jaden. Thank you so much.